on the Tiki Talk. It is nice to see you. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We cover true crime, so it's nice to see you guys coming into the chat this morning. If you've been following me on the case of Melodee Buzzard, hey Ginger, it's nice to see you. Maya, Lisa, Karen, it's nice to see you. If you guys have been following my coverage, I've been doing a lot of coverage on YT about this case. I'm not voting with the experts. I've been doing these types of cases for several years. We have a great batting average on our show, and what I'm seeing here in this particular matter is not what I think we should be dealing with. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. We were told that this child was missing for a year. And come to find out in short order, this child wasn't missing for a year. The school saw her 2 months ago. The school also said 2 months ago she never completed any assignments. Well, she was just being enrolled into homeschooling. So what I'm anticipating in this case is a situation of paperwork getting skewed and it turning into a federal investigation. When she was missing for a year, they had probable cause to intrude into Ashlee's life. When she was missing 2 months ago, they had rights to intrude into Ashlee's life. As soon as they found this child on October 10th, that is when this case should have been closed, but it was not. They wanted to apply pressure to this mother because this mother is keeping this child from the state of California. She does not want this child taken from her. The prior family tried, instead of giving her support after Rubiel passed away, they tried to take her daughter from her. So there's a lot of details that social media, mainstream media, as well as law enforcement, are not telling you. But they are starting to state things that are supporting I've been saying this for over a week. And so now we're starting to see some evidence supporting my conclusion about this case and this being a major government overreach. There are several factors in this case. There are no endangered child advisories or endangered missing advisory out of the state of California for this child. I looked myself. She is not on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children database. She's not a part of NamUs. There's a lot of things that are supporting my assessment in this case, where I feel like this is government overreach. They are trying to force this mother, when they do not have the authority or the probable cause, to force this mother to give up the location of her child. And she is trying to protect this child from them taking her. And it's so much that she put her in a wig and changed the license plate on her vehicle that she took this child out of the state of California. Now, they're also withholding the fact that she's done this once before when Rubiel's family tried to adopt Melodee. She took Melodee out of the state. Well, where did she go? She went to Marshalltown, Iowa. And law enforcement has failed to provide that information to the public to make an informed assessment. Mainstream media has those in the same reports that I have them in, and they have failed to tell their audience about the fact that she lived in Marshalltown, Iowa, when she fled from Rubiel's family trying to adopt Melodee. And so now we see that she's going in the same trajectory as Iowa in this latest statement. And again, this also supports my belief that law enforcement is acting improperly here, because why have they not provided us the map in Nebraska? This is where they believe that she was at. Nebraska is where she stopped. It's where they believe that she that Melodee got out of the car. She did this. They've said for weeks that she did this weird detour through Kansas and all this other stuff. Well, okay. Well, they've been looking for this child for 30 days and still can't tell us where in Nebraska. They've never even given us a map like this in the state of Nebraska, but that allegedly where the last time this child was seen. So we have law enforcement playing games, law enforcement changing the details. When we have a parent or a suspect changing the story, it's red flags to us. But for some reason, when law enforcement changes the story, we just take it as is and just accept it, and we don't question it. In our country, in order to have law enforcement up your craw as a parent, because I believe in parental rights, okay, I'm an advocate for parental rights, especially this day and age in our public school system. I am all about parental rights. So you have parental rights in this country. That means that you make decisions solely for your own child. She had no court order that prevented her from taking her child out of state. She has no other significant other because the significant other's deceased. So nobody's telling her what she can do. She is the sole chooser and decision maker for Ashlee Buzzard. And law enforcement has not produced one scintilla of information that this child was abused, abandoned, or neglected, which is the requirement for them to get into this woman's life. They cannot prove that. I think that's the reason why she's not in jail, and that's the reason why they can only execute warrants for that house. They can't execute warrants to arrest her, and they can't execute warrants to force her to tell them where her child is, because they don't have probable cause. That means they don't have the right to ask. And I've been on this bandwagon for quite some time. I was hook, line, and sinker. She needs to turn this child over, needs to turn this child over, needs to turn this child over. But I did my work. I did my job. I investigated this case. And I can clearly see that this is a mother that has had her child taken from her unnecessarily. And when they got her away from this child, they tried to adopt this child. They tried to say that this woman is mentally unstable. And I don't believe that's the case. I believe the only thing she's guilty of is trying to protect her daughter from people taking her. Okay? Does she live the perfect life? No, she doesn't, but what parent does? If there is an issue with the school in the state of California, they've decriminalized truancy. So they still have no rights to demand this mother in jail or any otherwise because her child didn't go to school. Now, is it really the fact her child didn't go to school? I don't believe that's the case. I believe they had a paperwork issue. She forgot to sign an affidavit. They failed to assign the work to Melodee to complete, and Ashlee didn't call them to tell them. And I think that when they realized that this was going on, they had a knee-jerk reaction. They called law enforcement for the wellness check, and the whole entire story has changed wildly since that call has happened. And it is my opinion that law enforcement doesn't have probable cause to arrest this mother and doesn't have probable cause to force her to tell them where this child is, nor should they. They haven't been able to establish that this child is even in danger. All they've been able to establish is that the mother is scared that this child's going to be taken from her and fled the state with her daughter. That's what the evidence is showing. And it looks like she came back to the state to pack up her house. When we first got to this house, there's a whole bunch of boxes in the garage that supports that. So this idea that this child's in danger or deceased or sold, for Christ's sakes, is not true. This child's most likely with a friend of Ashlee's, a very distant ride or die friend, or a family member. That's what I truly believe in this particular case. The school contacted her, letting her know, if you don't show up to this meeting, we will be doing, and that's fine. But it doesn't matter. They don't have a right to force her to produce a daughter when they can't prove that she's been a danger to them. Like, you got to understand, like, I'm in true crime, okay? I believe in the law, and I believe the law needs to be executed properly. We have the law, and it's not to protect law enforcement, it's to protect us from law enforcement, okay? You guys need to change the way you're thinking about our laws. Okay, our laws, our government doesn't have carte blanche to come into. We don't live in a dictatorial nation. Okay, we don't live in a nation where our government tells us what to do. We actually pay for our government. Our government actually works for us, and we tell them, we are going to allow you to encroach in people's lives. We're going to allow you to go inside people's homes when you're not invited, but you have to meet these certain criteria in an effort to do that. Okay, so we tell law enforcement, we're giving you this ability to enforce laws and to do things that we, the normal people, are not allowed to do, but you have to meet these requirements, right? And so those are the requirements that have to be met. And those requirements, in my opinion, have not been met, yet they're still doing this. So we have a problem here. This stinks to high heaven. I don't like how this is feeling. Did Ashlee do something wrong? I'm sure she did. Okay, parents do crap wrong all the time. It doesn't rise to the level of having your child taken from your home. And people are like, well, she's mental. She's got a mental problem. Nobody. She hasn't had nobody in her life in 4 years. Nobody's been screaming she's a mental basket case for 4 years, and now all of a sudden she's this mental basket case. I call bullshit. Okay? Does she probably have some PTSDs? I'm sure she does. I mean, she had a baby, and 6 months after she had a baby, that baby's father died on a motorcycle. I'm sure she has a lot of emotional and issues with that. I'm sure she's a freaking wreck still to this day. And they're understandable and justifiable. It doesn't mean that gives our government the right to demand whatever the hell they want to from a single woman. She has rights. She has parental rights, and and so far, I can't see where she's done anything wrong. And again, if it comes down to the truancy, it's been decriminalized in the state of California. Still, it does not justify what they're doing to this lady. It just doesn't. And I truly don't believe, if I thought that Melodee was in harm's way, I would be the first one to come up here and tell you guys. You guys know I'll run people over with the proverbial school bus. You know, I don't care. But in this scenario, that is not what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at a school that lied to law enforcement, said this child was missing for a year when it was not. Then they backtracked, said, oh, we saw this child 2 months ago. And this child hasn't been seen in 2 months. Then we got the family, the in-laws, saying, we haven't seen our child in 4 years. Well, you know what? If you didn't try to go into this woman's life and steal her kid, you might have a relationship with this child. You know? But that was her prerogative. She has every right to take this child away from those in-laws. Let's not get it twisted. And again, still trying to figure out how law enforcement is able to do this. And remember, if they can do this to this lady over this thin of reasons, think about what they would be willing to do to you. This is why I'm very, very big about the law. I'm very, very big about not skirting the law, not living in the black and white part of the law. Law enforcement can go into this woman's house if they have X, Y, and Z. She's not committed any crimes, so they don't have the criminal route. So the only thing that they have now is the dependency court route. And in order for them to force this woman to speak at that dependency court route, they have to show that this child was abused, endangered, neglected, or abandoned. And they cannot prove any of that. That's my point. And so we've got a problem here. I'm not agreeing with law enforcement. I'm going to stand on my hill alone if I have to. I'm going to keep speaking this because the latest release that they just released from law enforcement, from Lompoc right here, this all supports everything I've been saying for the last week and a half. It supports it. She changed the license plate number. They were in disguises. Her daughter was in disguises. She's trying to get her daughter out of Dodge because she knew the state of California was trying to make a ploy out of her daughter. This is my problem. We come here all the time, and our biggest complaint is law enforcement or the Department of Children and Family Services manage to always pull the children from the homes that need the most that need more resources, not the child pulled from the home, but yet they leave the child that's being abused in that home until they're deceased. They keep getting it wrong. This is a home that deserves more resources, not the child being removed. Yet Summer Wells had the Department of Children and Family Services over the day before. She should have been removed. If they removed her the day before, she would have never went missing on June 15th, 2021. The Department of Children and Family Services were at her house that day, the day before she disappeared. And I look at that property. And that property, those children should have been removed. There were so many environmental hazards at that property that could have injured Summer Wells or any of her brothers. They had probable cause to remove every single one of those children from that home. They chose to keep the children in that home. Summer Wells went missing the very next day, and you don't see those environmental hazards in this house. When you look on the outside of this house, it looks clean and picked up. So again, having a whole problem with this entire story, and I'm surprised that there's not more people that have a problem, that don't have a problem with this story, because I feel like this lady's being railroaded by the system. I really do. I believe they took a minor school issue and turned it into a federal investigation, and I don't like it. And I have an opportunity to have a platform, and I use my platform in the way I see fit. And this one is advocating for the mother in this situation. I don't believe it's in the best interest of this child to be removed. Even if there was mental illness, that doesn't rise. All the mental illness going on in this country, we don't take children from homes just because a parent is mentally ill. If that's the argument. Okay? We just don't do that. We give them resources, and we give them the ability to raise their children with their illness or their disease or whatever the case may be. But we don't remove children because somebody is mentally ill. So that is not, they tore up her home, exactly. And this is what upsets me, Tramika, about the tearing up of the house. They had already told us that they didn't believe this child was at that house, that the mother took off with this child in Nebraska and didn't return home with her. So why are they ripping carpet out? Why are they putting holes in the wall when they know for a fact that this child's not there? That just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like they are trying their hardest to force probable cause somewhere so they can force this mother, but there is none. She wasn't abusive to this child. They're not going to find, blood splattered all over the wall. I mean, this is not the type of case. They took electronics that day, and they probably did because they're probably trying to find out where she hid this child. But even in law enforcement, I went back to law enforcement, all of their statements. Not one time did they ever state that they believed this child was deceased. They actually believe that this child's with somebody. They've said that multiple times, that this person is with somebody like a friend or a distant family member. That's what they said at the very beginning of this case. So they've known. We all have known. I mean, it took me a little while to catch up, but once I caught up, I got it. This is not a normal missing child. They don't believe this child's deceased. They don't believe this child's in harm's way. And they know damn well that the mother's trying to hide this child from the state. And the question is that's still not a crime. I still want to see where the probable cause for all of this tax money. This is our federal funds that are being utilized here. Like I want justification for this. Okay? Clearly, the child was safe and sound on October 7th when we were told that she wasn't for a year prior to that date. Well, that disproved what law enforcement was stating, no? It's against the law to hide your children from... No, it's not. The DHS, the Department of Children and Family Services, have to have probable cause to ask you. They can't just say, they just can't come knocking on any random person's door and say, produce your kid. Okay, we have laws in this country. I would suggest you first and foremost, so I don't want to be insulting or anything, is you got to learn your laws. Okay, you can't just say, oh, this is how it is. Like DHS, they still have to have a reason for doing stuff. You can't just say, oh, a child didn't, we have no truancy laws in our county and a child's truancy, so now we have a right to bring in the feds. It doesn't work like that. That's not how law works, okay? We give them the ability to intrude in people's lives, but they have to meet certain criteria in an effort to do that. And the criteria in the state of California is very, very specific. And they haven't risen to that criteria yet. Technically, she's not missing. She could be on. Exactly. My point. Thank you. You're getting what I'm saying. Tramika's getting it. But that's what I'm saying. She had no court order. There was no court order saying you have to ask permission of the state to take your child over state lines. There's no custody with anybody else. So there's no custody problems. There's no interference in custody. She had full rights to make decisions of this child. She wasn't in court with the state. There's no court order saying that she has to do this, that, or the other. She had full rights, just like you do, to take your child anywhere you want to. Except when she came back, she got a knock on her door from a government. Okay? You can't do that in America. This is America. This is not a third world country, okay? This is not a dictatorship. We don't live in a fascist environment despite of what the left tells you. Okay? We have laws, and the only way you can encroach on those laws is by certain elements in play, and those elements are not in play. When this child was missing for a year, they had probable cause. When this child was missing 2 months ago, they had probable cause. But when this child was found with her mother where she was supposed to be on October 7th, the case should have been closed. And it wasn't. And the reason why it wasn't is because this mother told the federal government to get bent. That's why it's not closed. And that's my problem. Because you have a right to tell the federal government to get bent. Okay? They have to show probable cause, yet this has been railroaded right through the system without showing the necessary requirements or elements in order to have this type of level of intrusion in this woman's life. Again, we have parental rights in this country. So I am not on, I'm a true blue. I want the truth. I'm a victim right advocate. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm also a political activist as well, right? And I believe in parental rights. I fought for them for years for the people here in the state of Florida. So when I saw this case, I was right there with all of you guys. That's all hands on deck. Go read everything. Go watch. You can watch the change. You can watch the light bulb go off of my head, on top of my head when I started changing why are they here? We found her. She was missing for a year. She was found on October 7th. We have proof of life with her mother where she was supposed to be. The case is closed. But they're using that case closed photo for a reason to keep going with the investigation, and they don't have that right. So I don't know. I think people need to start asking better questions here, because I think a mom's being railroaded, and this is my problem with that. If she can be railroaded, you can be railroaded too, and so can I. And I've been railroaded. I'm still fighting a corrupt county, Sumner County, the Sebastian Rogers case. Let's not forget. I'm still fighting with them legally. Okay? I believe she's in Iowa. If you guys want my truth, I believe this child's somewhere in Iowa. And the reason why I say that is because Melodee and Ashlee ran off to Marshalltown, Iowa, 4 or 5 years ago when Rubiel's family was trying to adopt Melodee and take her from her mother. She took off out of state. She went to Iowa. Well, looks like she's going to Iowa again. Why don't she just give proof of life and move on? You would think, I don't know why. I'm a stubborn woman, okay? So I'll tell anybody to get bent, and I'm one of these people. Even with me being a back of the blue person, you can, if you want to, call up the sheriff's office. They'll tell you. Everybody around here knows me. I'm very politically active here, and if somebody violated my rights, I tell them to get bent. Like, who the hell are you to ask me that? I'm not answering anything without a court order, right? There are people just like that. I'm one of those people. Okay, so this whole mentality of why didn't she just say this? Why the fuck are they asking? Excuse my language, but why? Okay? Who the hell are you to be up my shit? It's my kid. If I want to take her to Timbuktu, I'm going to. You know? That's my mentality. Now, if I did something wrong, you have probable cause, you know, then I would say, okay, well, you know, I'm about to go to jail. Like a judge ordered me to tell you where my kid is. My kid's in Marshalltown, Iowa, right? I just told you where my child is, right? But without lacking that court order, I tell anybody, who the fuck do you think you are? Trust me, I am just like that in real life, okay? If you don't know it, ask somebody that knows me in real life. They'll tell you. I am just like that. So if I've got somebody, and I don't care if you're a government official, I would tell a governor to get bent if he pissed me off, okay? I don't care who you are. You put your pants on just the same way as me, honey, okay? When you cut, you bleed the same color I bleed. Trust me, you ain't special, okay? Neither am I. So let's not get it twisted. So that's just my mentality. But if you're knocking on my door, you better come with a freaking warrant. If you want to know where my damn child is, if you want to question my parental ability, you better bring the cavalry and a court order. And they brought a subpoena, okay? They brought a subpoena. The subpoena doesn't cut it, right? You can subpoena the crap out of me, but until a court order comes to me, I ain't saying shit. And you guys know some of you guys are just like that. I'm not standing here all by myself. You know damn well if this was knocking at your door, you'd do the same damn thing. So I think we're dealing with a lady that just told them to go fuck themselves, and they didn't like it. You know? But so far, I've gotten no spidey things that law enforcement even believes this child's dead. So if this child's not in harm's way, look, I don't even know why it's on a true crime channel. This is not true crime. This is a pissing contest with the federal government and this lady. That's what it is. Okay? Who's going to ultimately get the kid, right? And that's what it comes down to. You piss the federal government off, they go after you. This is a situation that I think was a knee-jerk reaction. Everybody jumped in because they thought this child was missing for a year. And I think that they just want to see this child's happy and healthy, that nothing happened to it. And they're going completely overboard without the authority to do so. That's just what I think is going on behind the scenes. I think everybody's just, just going for the goal of putting their eyeballs on this child, that they're and I truly do believe that the reason why they're fighting so hard to put their eyeballs on this child is they're going to take this child from her. And I don't think that's in the best interest of this child. I don't. And I'm not going to play their game. You have probable cause to take this child or you don't. And clearly they don't. Otherwise, this mother would be in jail. And she's not. There's no missing. This child's not even on NamUs. And that's our federal missing person database. Come on. There's something else going on here. And I think we all need to, whatever it is, this child needs to get put back into school. We know that, okay? This stuff cannot be good, healthy for this child at all. But at the end of the day, does it rise to the level of this mother? We've seen abuse, okay? We've seen pure evil in homes, okay? I'm not seeing that in this home. I'm not willing to take a child away from this mother because the school doesn't like her parenting. Okay? That's not why we take children away from parents. We take children away from parents because they're neglectful, they're abusive, they're causing harm. And this sounds like a paperwork issue that turned into a federal investigation. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the smell of it, and I'm very disappointed that our mainstream media partners aren't, at least asking the question. They don't have to get on hook, line, and sinker or both feet in, but just, start talking about, a little bit of government overreach, educate your audience, about the requirements to be in somebody's life like this. And they have not come to that requirement. And they're playing the psychological game. Oh, we're just keeping her out just to see if she makes a mistake. Bullshit. If you could arrest her, you would. I'm sorry. I know law enforcement. If they could apply that type of pressure to her, they would. There's a court that obviously agrees that they don't have what it takes to force this lady or throw her in jail for not talking. My niece has been homeschooling for 2 years, and my sister would do the same thing. Exactly. So, guys, you guys have heard me, you've watched me for years. I don't come out like this. I usually believe the child's deceased and the parents did it. mean, let's be honest with you, because that's what the statistics tell me. But I always do the work, and I always do the investigation, and I always try to fact find the information the best I can. And when I start seeing things that I don't normally see, I look under the hood a little deeper. And I absolutely believe wholeheartedly that this child is safe, that this mother is trying to hide her child from California because she does not want her child taken from California. Now this child's out of their jurisdiction. I think this is going to be a jurisdictional issue. Not only do they have probable cause, but do they even have jurisdiction over this child? I don't think they do. So there's a lot of legalese in this whole situation that I think that mainstream media needs to be talking about, and so does law enforcement, and so does the courts. And so does the courts. And I hope the courts stay strong and do not violate this woman's rights. If she's to produce that child, I hope it's above board, and I hope it's saturated in the law. If they take this child or force this woman to produce this child, and they take that child from her, I hope that God, she sues the shit out of them for millions of dollars and set her and her daughter on a path for success in the future. But something's not right here. I feel it's not right. I'm going to say it. I'm going to go against law enforcement. I don't think they have the rights to do this to this woman. I'm sorry, I just don't. So let me know your thoughts. You can send those to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. It was great seeing all of you. Thank you for allowing me to bend your ear. I will try to get videos out, but I wanted to explain this stuff to you because now we're hearing that she's changed license plate. Like everything that I've been saying for over a week is now being supported by information being released from law enforcement. So if you guys want the truth of these cases, when you're covering these cases and I'm covering these cases, make sure you hit up Bullhorn Betty, because I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you what I find. I'm going to tell you what I see. I've got no vested interest in this. I want the truth. I want to know what happened. And I definitely want bad guys being put in jail. And I want children safe. That's all I care about. Kayla Pack recap. Okay. So the recap is I feel like law, it's quite a lot. Okay. My opinion on this, we did find that they do have a path of travel. They believe that right here in Green River, Utah, was the last sighting that they can confirm of Melodee on October 9th. They didn't give us the time. They still haven't given us the map for Nebraska yet, which, again, I feel like law enforcement's playing games at this point, right? Because why not just give us the full travel? They obviously have it. Just release it already. I mean, it's been a flipping month. Let social media and the public do what they do. So if you want answers, let us give you the answers so we can put this to bed. I don't believe this child is in harm's way. I want to prove that this child is not in harm's way, but law enforcement is preventing us from doing so, okay? So we've got now a new map that gets us to Utah. Maybe they'll give us the one in Nebraska. I don't know. But allegedly, she changed license plates. We did see her. She looks, I don't know. I think that she's in a disguise too. I'm not sure if this is her real hair. It might be her real hair. But, in past stuff, she had more dark, I guess, chestnutty type of hair. I guess, would that be appropriate to say? I don't know if that's appropriate to say or not. But she had more like a chestnut curl. I mean, she did have this kinky curl that she's got on her head right now. But I don't know if that's her real hair. It might be her real hair. Either way, allegedly her daughter is in a wig. And she's here. So she came here. She rented a car. She got her daughter out of Dodge. During this thing, this is obviously planned and not her first time doing this, because we know she took her daughter out of the state when her exes, or the child's father, tried to come and father's family tried to come and adopt this child and take her away from her own mother, which again I think is really shitty. If you're doing that to your family, it's really shitty. You got problems in your family. You do whatever you can to support the mom keeping her kid. You don't go into a family and try to steal the kid. Okay? That's a good way of not, and then you want to cry about, oh, we don't have a relationship. I wouldn't give you a relationship with that you tried to steal from me. Are you freaking, have you lost your damn mind? Have you lost your damn mind? I wouldn't be rubbing elbows with somebody that would be willing to adopt my child instead of giving me the support I need to raise my child. Sorry, not sorry. Anyways, I digress. So she goes in here. Obviously, her child's healthy. Her child's with her mom where she's supposed to be the only person that has rights to have this child. There she is. There's the proof. The proof is in the pudding. Child not missing for a year. She's with her mother where she's supposed to be. Case is closed. But just like that Ashlee knows, the case isn't going to be closed. And these people are going to make another run at her child. So what does she do? Once again, she packs her child up and she takes her child out of the state, out of the jurisdiction of California. She's a smart cookie, in my opinion. She's a smart cookie. Sounds like she's done this before. Not only that, she knows how sneaky the state is. She knows how sneaky her in-laws are. So she thought ahead and thought to change out the license plate. So now she has a new license plate on the car that she's taking. I guess that could be a criminal activity, a low-level criminal activity, right? Okay, so what? She changed out a license plate. Ooh, she deserves to be under the jail. Oh, no, she deserves to have her child taken. So she gets the child out of the state. The child's with somebody she knows and trusts, and she has the right to put that child with somebody she knows and trusts. It is not up to our government to question her parenting. Until she violates the dependency court rules, right? Until she abandons her child, abuses her child, neglects her child, right? Endangers her child. None of which we've observed here. This child is not bruised. This child is of normal weight. This child looks pretty freaking healthy. This child is clearly not abandoned because there's the child's mother. So again, what rights does our government have to be in this lady's house ripping shit out? People need to start asking some questions because they do this to this woman. They can do it to you. They can do it to you. I'm not saying that we don't need to put eyes on Melodee. At this point, this case is entirely too big. We need to make sure Melodee's okay. Period. That's my position on it. I still think it's a violation of this woman's rights that she has to produce her daughter. It's not our business at this point. It was our business when this child was missing for a year. It was our business when this child was missing for 2 months. It was no longer our business when this child was found in this photo on October 7th with her mother where she was supposed to be. You guys understand that, right? I need you guys to get that because this is where my problem lies. They found this child on October 7th. Why are they tearing this woman's house apart? You know why? Because she won't tell them where this child is. They don't have a right to ask. They don't have a right to know. If they had a right to know, they should be able to get a court order. A court order to force this woman to speak. And they still have not gotten the court order after 30 days. We're not asking the right questions. I really don't believe law enforcement has probable cause. I believe law enforcement is wrong in this matter. And I'm going to stand on that. And I pray to God this child is okay and that this child isn't in harm's way. But I have done the research and this is past behavior. She's done it before. And I believe this child is just fine. So I'm going to trust my instincts. I'm going to trust my investigative work. And I'm going to stand on this hill alone if I have to. But we need to be asking questions to law enforcement. How in the hell do they have the rights to do this to this woman? She has full custody of this child. She makes every damn decision for this child. If she wants to take this child to Timbuktu, by God, she has that right. Let's not get it twisted. What did she do wrong? She told a county and a state to fuck off. That's what she did. And you know what? The last time I checked, she's allowed to do that. Just saying. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless.